Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Access Television.
Or somebody just gets into the bedroom as he's bathing, he stops and he dies. Or somebody just sit down, probably just meditating. Before you know it, the person is gone, just like that, silently, quietly. I keep wondering, I keep imagining what happened. There was no sign of sickness, there was no sign of death, just like that. So today, we're talking about sudden death. What happened? How can one possibly prevent it? So we meet on the studio. I have our in-house daughter, Dr. Chima, Anthony. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you.
So we're going to a short break. When we're back, we'll discuss further. Don't go away.
Access Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Access Television.
On the show, as I was saying earlier before we went on break, we were discussing about sudden deaths. So today, our daughter will be putting us right, giving us the right information, how we can prevent this sudden death.
Access Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Access Television.
Someone that hasn't really undergone an accident or something, sudden death occurs when somebody just slumps, dies. When you take of any other traumatic condition like accidents or a fall or something, sudden death could be related to basically heart conditions or brain conditions. It could be related to blood pressure, or there are things you call ventricular tachycardia. Ventricular tachycardia is when the ventricles keeps pumping. These are heart conditions with people. Or you could have pulmonary stenosis, when the lungs do not expel oxygenated blood into circulation. Or you could have aortic stenosis too, when the heart does not pump out properly into the various receiving body parts. Another thing could be maybe we call hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Under it is what you have things like that, ventricular tachycardia.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So you made mention of high blood pressure. How
Yeah.
does this high blood pressure related to the sudden death?
Okay. Yes. High blood pressure. People talk about high blood pressure, but some people don't know about low blood pressure. Low blood pressure is as deadly as high blood pressure, if not more. But normally the best level for the normal blood pressure should be the systolic count of about 120, around 120, and then a diastolic count of anything less than 80. Now, if you have...
That's for the high blood pressure.
No, that's for the normal blood pressure. The normal blood pressure should have a count of about 120 for the systolic, and then 80, anything below 80.
Sorry if I got you. Does this has to do with age, this normal range of high blood pressure?
Not basically age, that's the standard.
Okay.
You refer, in medicine we always have what you call the blank, the standard values, so that you can use that to interpret any other level.
Okay.
So if the normal value should be around 120 for systolic count, and then anything lower than 80 for diastolic, anything maybe from 80 and below 79, 75, and maybe 70. Yeah, that's what you refer to as normal blood pressure. So anything above 130, from 130 and above, it's tagged as high blood pressure. You're getting into, from 130 you're getting into the borderline. Anything above 130, it's something you should start looking into. So anything above maybe from 130, 139 and above, it's high blood pressure. Then for that's for the systolic count, and then anything above 80 for the diastolic count is also tagged as high blood pressure. Then for any value lower than 70 for diastolic, and anything far lower than maybe 110 for the systolic, then somebody is going into low blood pressure. Now, when you're far off this adequate range, then it's something you should look into. You're either dealing with so depending on what, it could lead to sudden death.
It's all right. You said the low blood pressure is more dangerous than the high blood pressure.
Because it's not easily, we don't see it as a problem normally. When somebody tells you, my BP, I checked my BP was 100 over, maybe they can tell you 100 over 60. Somebody will look at it, we feel, okay, since I'm not in that high borderline, depending on, as people are not looking at what is existing, because people's mind has been much more inclined into the high blood level, high blood pressure level.
Yes.
So when somebody comes and meets you and says, they said my blood pressure is 100 over 60, you would be feeling you're normal, you understand? But in the real sense of it, you're going to low blood pressure. And then, many a times you see, that's why when you see people that lie down, if you're somebody that has low blood pressure and you lie down, there is every high tendency for you to go into sudden death.
Really?
Because normally when you lie down, your blood pressure normally will come down. That's just in the matter, because as you lie down,
as you're resting.
Yeah, normally. So imagine if, and naturally, once you just lie down, you have a lower blood pressure. So if you're already at the low blood pressure threshold, and possibly you get to lie down, you find out that your blood pressure will dip a little more, and you could go into shock and death.
Wow. So how do one check this blood pressure of a thing? Is it on daily basis? I should be counting weeks or months in going to check for high blood pressure.
Technology has made it very easy for us to almost have the BP apparatus in our houses. So there are the electronic ones that people, the electronic ones that people could manage at home. Those electronic ones, the reading might not be 100% accurate, because it all depends on the device, and the state of the device at that moment. It might depend on your battery, it might depend on you, the user at home. You might not fix it properly, so you might be having wrong reading. That's why you should be properly educated on how to use your device, and then possibly you should get very good batteries, or change your batteries adequately. So if it's something that you have your own device, you could check your BP. It's not bad to check it daily. Yeah, it's not bad to check it daily, because it will help you a lot. And then at some various interval, it will also be good you visit maybe a clinic or a healthcare facility where they could monitor you with this manometer. That's what you call the manual device. The degree of accuracy for that is a little bit higher, because it's going to be a professional that is going to use that device to check you. But if you can afford the electronic device, the home electronic device, you can use it so that it could just be giving you various readings as time goes on your own.
Okay. So what are do we talk about the preventive measures now? I remember there's a saying that says weather too causes either the BP to rise or whatever. So how true is this comment?
Okay. It's quite relative in such case now, because really, when the when temperature is high, when the temperature is high,
The temperature of the weather.
environmental temperature, yes, when environmental temperature is high, and you might tend to take in lots of fluid.
And water.
Yes. So as you take in fluid, depending, there is what you call water turbidity, or you take a lot of water. When you take lots of water, it could dilute your system. So in relative terms, yes, depending on the level of what you call respiration or sweating. So sometimes high environmental um, condition could sort of influence one's blood pressure. Yes.
To make it
Yes.
so high.
It could elevate it a little, but it's almost insignificant. What it could elevate it some. Yeah, depending on the condition of that particular person.
It's all right. So can you tell us what are the causes of this high blood? Is it the one just wake up and just notice that he's having high blood pressure? Is it hereditary? Is it depends on your daily activities that do cause, or what you take in as
Yes.
feeding or food that causes this?
There are so
blood
many
pressure?
causes of blood pressure, either high or low blood pressure. For instance, the first major is hereditary, genetic condition. So if there is any history of high blood pressure or low blood pressure in a family, there is every tendency that it will continue in that family. So yes, hereditary or genetic condition plays a role. Food plays a role too. There are fatty foods, high cholesterol building foods.
But the issue is that we don't even know some of this food.
We know, so many people know.
Really?
Yes. How do you feel, even in your own right thinking sense, you know that so much of everything is bad, right? If somebody tells you you can eat, you're eating so much meat, if you take so much
cake.
meat, too much fatty foods, so much salt in food, these are foods that predispose you, because, for instance, now anything that causes foods that could cause high cholesterol level in any human being will tend to shrink or reduce the elasticity of the blood vessel, right?
Okay.
Yes,
That's it. It does block the blood vessels.
Yes. When you're talking about the pressure of the blood, it's the pumping.
It's pumping. Yes.
So
Some
you can imagine,
fast.
yes, it goes fast based on activities.
Okay.
It goes back faster because of activities. When your heart is pumping, it's because the heart is the pump. Now it has to, when the blood returns to the heart, it has to be pumped out back. So now, yes, oxygenated blood is pumped out into the system. So from what you call arteriosclerosis, from the aorta, the arteries, how they can absorb that blood. Because imagine the heart pumps vigorously, because the heart will have to pump to eject blood, so that the blood will move at a high speed to both all your extremities. So you can imagine if the blood is pumped out and the arteries cannot contain that pressure, they could burst. You understand? Those arteries could burst if the heart pumps out, and those arteries are not elastic enough to take the pressure of the pump. Then they could burst. Then that is when you can go into sudden shock.
Okay.
So that's what. So if you take foods that cluster your arteries, you understand? Food that build up or cause arteriosclerosis, that reduces that elasticity.
And that shock do affect the blood.
Yes, the
That
burst
will
could be in the
cause-
brain. The burst could if
paralyzed.
if the burst is in the brain. Once the burst is in some of those small arteries right inside the brain, obviously. The burst could be anywhere. It could be in the heart, it could be in the brain, it could be in the eye, it could be anywhere, any part of the body. So depending on where is predisposed to that arteriosclerosis, then when you have that, you're sure the person will go into shock, could go into coma, could go into death.
It's okay. Thank you, doctor. Hello, viewers. We'll go on a short break right now. When we come back, we'll discuss further. Please don't go away. Stay tuned. I want us to... Hello viewers, in case you are just joining us, you're watching Healthy Living on Asset Television, and we are discussing about the issues of the heart. You know, the heart contains a lot of activities that will run on daily life. So without a healthy heart, you can't have a healthy life. So heart matters a lot. Take good care of your heart. That's what we're discussing. So stay with us. So, Dr. There's this situation where one will just sit down or lying down. Let me say, lie down. Your heart, you just hear your heart pumping, as in you feel the vibration of your heart. Boom, boom. I witnessed this one time. I was like, what is going on? What is going on? You understand? So, what could be the cause of those, things?
Okay. I was just saying that there is something like ventricular tachycardia. So ventricular tachycardia means sudden increase pumping of the heart.
When you're not doing any activity,
yes,
you're just resting.
Yeah, it could. This is it's quite broad. But I'll just see how I can just shorten it so that people could understand. There's what we call hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Now, an instance of that is what you call the ventricular tachycardia or arrhythmias. There are situations when it might be that there is a blockage.
Okay.
Or breath. No, not blockage of breath. There could be a blockage of narrowing of blood coming back into the heart.
Okay.
So, normally, the ventricle, they're the most muscular part of the heart. They will want to pump. They're the place that pump out. So if they don't pump out efficiently what they are supposed to pump, they will want to compensate. So they'll pump faster. So that's why sometimes you might see that sudden pump. You understand? That's sometimes.
It's not as if it's a bad thing.
It depends. It depends. Let's assume now you just came up from high activity. But it's something to monitor. It's ventricular tachycardia is something you just have to see your doctor at this stage. But it could just be that it's the body trying to compensate on its own. Yeah, there are times that the heart will just want to compensate. Maybe because, for instance, now, how do I give the typical example? Maybe when maybe there's an emboli somewhere, or somebody, if it's a normal condition now, just somebody that may have a normal condition, then you must have, you have more blood has gone to your lower limbs, and then you suddenly stay in a position to slow it, return back to the heart. Let's say, as what I'm trying to say is, maybe you just have the sudden activities of your lower extremities. Then you now just took a relaxed situation. It's just like you suddenly distance now. So the blood has not moved back. More blood has come to compensate your activity that you're doing with your lower limbs. So for that compensation, now when you just take up a relaxed situation, the blood has not returned as it's supposed to be in its normal stage. So what happens to you now is you would have dragged the blood to those lower extremities. Now you want to supposed to go back. Where you will now be head, and all that. Now when the ventricle does not receive enough of that blood that is sent out, so sometimes it tries to pump faster so that it can compensate for the blood that has been. because it's a closed circulation, Just everything just cycles back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like that. So as long as there is no cut or there is no injury, once that would have caused severe shock to the system, the blood must have to go back to where it came from. Like
during that shock, I hope it's not before the person.
No, it's not. That's why it's always good that every stage you take in, even if somebody wants to start an exercise, you do it gradually.
Okay.
If you've not been into exercise,
yes.
exercise should come gradually,
Then
then you balance it. If not, you will have issues.
Okay. So I want us to talk about the causes of low blood pressure, because there's a situation where one will be running from high blood pressure, and probably the person will think, okay, high blood pressure, I know the causes, probably excess of sugar and all that, so let me not take sugar. Because I actually had a colleague in my office, then he was running from high blood pressure, unknown to him that he was into low blood pressure. At a particular point, he when he get to the house, according to the wife, he said he sat down. All of a sudden, he slumped. Before they could rush him to the hospital, he died. So I noticed that. Anyway, let me not go there. So what are the causes of this low blood pressure?
For low blood pressure is basically food-related conditions.
Okay.
Because when you don't eat adequately, when we say your PCV is low, basically when you're sick or when there is, what do you call it, injury, food, loss of blood, maybe parasitic infection. But when we talk about parasitic, things that will destroy the red blood cells. There are so many things. There are drugs that break the red blood cells. There are viral diseases that destroy the red blood cells. There are
okay, then when the red blood cells is affected.
Yes, when you have destruction of blood, the blood vessels, then that is when you're going to be predisposing yourself to low blood pressure. Then food, just as you're talking about this issue of somebody saying was running away from sugar,
yes.
Obviously you suffer that because when the foods we eat contain much of carbohydrate and sugar. So when you tell yourself you are running away from that, it's as if you are now staying away from what should be increasing your ATP, what should be improving in the build-up of your red blood cells. So you need to take foods that will produce more blood cells for you, depending if you are having that. So hemorrhage will cause low blood pressure, food will cause low blood pressure, infections, when you talk about parasitic, viral, fungal or bacterial infections, these are predisposing factors to low blood pressure.
So with the people with either BP, low BP or high BP,
yes,
how do they manage the situation?
When you have high BP, obviously now you have to meet your doctor. If you have a persistent high blood pressure, it's advisable. It's your doctor that should manage.
And for how long do you think that this BP can be managed?
It depends. There are so many causes of blood pressure, and it depends on how you how you are following your drugs, how you're behaving with your doctor. There's pregnancy-induced blood pressure. Then there is environmentally induced. So there are so many predisposing factors. So it's only once you have a case of blood pressure, high blood pressure, you have to consult with your doctor. Same thing for your case of low blood pressure. The doctor will tell you what to do.
Do we have symptoms for all these low blood pressure now? Of course,
it depends. Yeah, that could, as we were just discussing, this issue of like for low blood pressure, both of them could come in the same way. When somebody has low blood pressure, you could see collapse. You could see the eyes maybe getting the eyes turning. There are some people that their pupils just get in, and There are different signs for that. But when you have BP, those, you might be having constant headaches. That's why once you're talking about, I'm always having headache, it will always come with headache for high blood pressure, headache. Sometimes too, low blood
Does it
pressure
have to
could
do
come
with
with fever,
sorry, does it have to do with
chills.
your losing of strength?
It will depend. If you start feeling kind of start having particular signs of headaches, depending on who you are. Once you start having headache, your activities will be affected. So you might even feel you're losing strength as well, because you'll be having constant headaches and other things will predispose.
So we're going to talk about the prevention now. How do one really prevent? Because with the daily activities, loaded, crisis, it could be family crisis, could be financial crisis, could be,
Take life
what?
easy. Take life easy as
So,
much as possible. For all there is no trouble. Problems have been there and
Of
they will
course.
always remain there. So as much as possible, there's no need to overtax yourself. You don't need to overburden yourself. You can take life easy. What you see can make go into exercises as much as possible. Relax. Just take time to relax. Problems will never end in this world. Then there are cases of pregnancy induced, like for those ones you can't run away from them. When you're pregnant, as much as possible, go for your antenatal. Try as much as possible to to register for your normal antenatal classes. Always meet your doctor. And then if it concerns other various conditions, environmental factors, yes, they come in. Types of food you eat, as much as possible. If you can make yourself happy, it will help. Then those that have hereditary problem that know it exists in the family, take it easy. Because a stage will come. Once you start, high blood pressure is not age dependent these days now. It can affect anybody, young people, old people, athletes, sedentary lifestyle people and all that. But it's always important you check yourself. That's the only way you can prevent.
It's all right, doctor. Thank you so much. Okay, viewers, you've heard all that have been discussed so far. There's this saying that says, sew your coat according to your size. It's so painful when you lose a beloved one, when you lose a dear one.
Maybe you should be sew your coat according to your material.
It's painful when you lost a dear one, just in the name of careless living. So please, and I want to use this medium to beg my viewers, I love you all and I don't want to lose any one of you. Take good care of your health. Pay attention to your health. Your health matters a lot. My name is Blessing Chima, and with me is Dr. Anthony Chima. We love you all. Please stay healthy. Bye for now.
Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Assets Television.